Muchas gracias a todos. Es un gran placer estar aquí en la magnífica ciudad de Puebla, compartir con ustedes la música inmortal de Chopin a través de este gran extracto de corto de animación. Desafortunadamente, hemos llegado al límite de mi capacidad de hablar español, así tenemos que cambiar a inglés. Thank you. So what you just saw and heard are 3 etudes by Chopin, the Polish-French virtuoso pianist and composer who lived from 1810 to 1849. And the film which accompanied it was made in 2010. The idea for it came about because of the 200th anniversary of Chopin's birth. Chopin, who has always been a huge figure to the country of Poland, and so the film was made with the patronage of the Polish government by Breakthrough Films. The producer of it, Hugh Welchman, won an Academy Award for other work that he's been doing. And I think it's just such a beautiful pairing. We're taking works of art that were made 2 centuries apart that almost seem to be made for each other. And there is something, to me, very strikingly similar, maybe in all the arts, but especially here, of bringing something to life, of real animation, anima, life, soul, that's being infused. The animation we saw was all stop motion. Meaning, of course, that it's a series of pictures that are taken of puppets who are moved a little bit, and then they take a picture and move them a bit more and take a picture. And you stitch all of those stills together, which if you looked at it on a film strip, they'd look almost the same. You wouldn't quite notice how the movement happens until, of course, you play it fast enough. And then you see how still puppets become real life. And that idea of infusing something with movement is something that I think the classical musician is always dealing with. Any classical musician, our starting point is always a text. It's always on paper, as any actor must start with a script. So the classical musician has to start with the text that we've been given. And it's a dialogue between the interpreter and the text, as it always is. I shape the text invariably, my own intuitions about what sounds right, what can communicate, what is true to my experience as a person. And then, of course, the text shapes me because it teaches me how to think and how to feel in a rich and sensitive way, which is what we all need, I think. And it's this beauty which I always engage with as a musician, and which we all engage with as a collective audience to the works of art that were just presented. And I think that's a very beautiful thing. It's this possibility of listening not just with the ears, but with the whole body, listening in an active way, with the whole self listening. My composition teacher at Juilliard always was telling me to listen with my whole body, with my whole self. And what he meant by this was a sort of listening which is participation, not just empty reception. Any musician knows that one of the paradoxes of music making is that you have to simultaneously synthesize sounds and also be an outside observer and also know what sounds you are synthesizing. How do you be both active and passive at the same time? It's a process which is very central to art in general, that you are both in it and out of it at the same time. But really, I think this dialogue is something we see everywhere in life. In any conversation, there's always reaction and also impulse and also reception and creation and communication above all. And it's this mutuality, this just so beautiful, which I think live music, live performance is a model for us in today's society. It feels like a dance almost, especially when I accompany the film live. So the film was made with a pre-recorded track by Lang performing these etudes. And now what we just heard, the film had the music track cut and only the sound effects track was live. And so I basically watched the film enough times that I know where is supposed to match with where. And it's really beautiful when you really look at it, how well done this film was made. And so I think, Hugh Welchman isn't here. He's currently working on a crazy biopic about Vincent van Gogh, where every still frame of it is an oil painting. But he definitely deserves a round of applause for this wonderful film. It's called Magic Piano. So we just saw a clip from it. It tells a very touching story with an ending that usually makes the kids, delighted by it, and all of us also sometimes are in tears. What we're going to see next, I think, comes from the same collection of short films. It's called Little Postman. And this, I was talking earlier about Chopin, how much he means to the Polish people. And that is something which is truly extraordinary, that he himself composed a lot of music in Polish national idioms, the Polonaise, the Mazurka, these national dances. And his music has been always a source of courage and strength to the Polish people in some of their greatest difficulties. And that's what this next film really engages with. And it still resonates with us in our own personal walks of life today, regardless of our connection to what happens here on an ordinary street corner in Warsaw. Thank you very much.